Hey girl bosses, with a lot of people trying out Paladins due to the current PvE situation going on in Overwatch, I figured it'd be a good idea to give y'all a little quick start guide to help you to understand the basics. There are a lot of mechanics in Paladins that are unfortunately not very well described in the game. There is an official starter guide on the official website, which is nice, but I figured a nice little video guide couldn't hurt. Also, the guide isn't really advertised anywhere, and the in-game tutorial is only really helpful if you've never played a hero shooter before. Anyways, let's start. First things first, sometimes on Windows, Paladins just doesn't work. If you've done all the usual troubleshooting, verify game files, blah, 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 here's what you can do to fix that. First, you're going to want to right-click on Paladins in Steam, click on Properties, and paste the following into Launch Options. That should fix the problem, and this is the ideal solution. If for whatever reason that doesn't work, there is another solution. You're gonna have to go into your files, go to Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Paladins, Binaries, Easy Anti-Cheat, Launcher, Settings 64, and then in Settings 64, you're gonna have to change Windows 64 to Windows 32. Save that all and load it up now. I do want to prioritize the first option because otherwise you're loading up the game in 32 bits, which is not very funsies. So now we got you to load up the game. When you first start, you are going to be prompted to make a username. Just know that in order to change your username, it does cost premium currency, so make sure it's something you like. Champions and Paladins can be unlocked for crystals or gold. Crystals are premium currency that you have to pay real life money for. Gold is the currency you can earn in game. There is a free rotation and a few starter champs you'll have unlocked right away. Once you earn enough gold, you can buy whoever you like, whenever you like. The most reliable way to get gold is to do the daily quests. You can also get them through drops by watching Paladin streamers on Twitch, shameless plug. Unlike Overwatch, Paladins has 4 roles that the champions fit into. I describe them like so. Damage, moderate mobility and health, high damage output to multiple targets. Your objective is to support the point and protect the healer. Flank, high mobility, low health, high damage output to single targets. Sneak to the back line and cause pressure from behind. Your targets in descending priority are snipers, supports, damages, and tanks. Do not try to 1v1 a tank, you will lose. Tank or frontline, low mobility, high health, moderate damage. Your goal is to contest the point and protect the support. Similar to how the support class is done in Overwatch, tanks have the subclasses of off tank and point tank. Every game needs a point tank. Off tanks are very powerful, but optional. An off tank is described by whether or not that specific character can negate, cauterize, or anti-heal, which is something I will get into later. Off tanks typically team up with the damages and flanks to pressure the back line. Point tanks are best at pressuring the point, and they can get cauterize off of themselves. You definitely don't need to glue yourself to the point the entire game, but that's where you should be the majority of the time. Support. Moderate mobility, health, and damage. They heal and buff allies and debuff enemies. When you are a support, stay in the back line. You are the flank's main target, so watch out for flanks and stick close to your team so that they can protect you. Supports often have damage talents, which let them be a bit more aggressive at the expense of their healing ability. Typically, it's only good if you have another support to properly heal people while you're dealing out damage. This isn't so much being an off support as it is taking on a new role. Across all matches, the general rule of thumb is to kill all these squishy, weak health targets before you focus on the tank. Alright, so using the role descriptions I gave you, find out what you want to do. Here are some of the best champions to start with for each role. They also coincidentally happen to be champions that you start with for free. If you want to be a tank, I recommend Ashe. If you want to be a support, I recommend Saris. If you want to flank, start with Lex. And if you want to go damage, start with Victor. Victor has the nickname Call of Duty Man. He's pretty much like Soldier 66. So honestly, he's just a good starter champion in general for just trying to figure out what the game is. There are only 2 classic snipers currently in the game, which are Strix and Kinessa. However, the player base puts Grover, Shaolin, and Atlas in sniper categories as well. Just so you know, Victor is the only champion who can run, and Androxus is the only champion with a melee style attack in addition to his in-hand weapon. You don't start with him, but Barrack is also a very good newbie-friendly tank. Each champion has 3 talents that majorly alter their abilities. You unlock the talents as you level up with that individual champion, with all talents being unlocked by level 8. Some are better than others, and some are really more situational. Try to see who you're facing and who you're up against to find out what talent would best fit that situation. Or you can just dick around and experiment because you're new and just want to have fun. In addition to talents, champions can have customized loadouts. Every champion has a deck of cards that augments their abilities in different ways. You can give one ability lifesteal, reduce a cooldown on another, heal when performing this ability, etc. You can also increase things like your base health, ammo, reload speed. All sorts of junk, it depends on the champion. Every card has 5 tiers, with each tier increasing the effectiveness of that card's ability. You're able to increase this by adding points to that card. Every loadout requires 5 cards and 15 points. You can have up to 6 loadouts prepared. So use this to anticipate what you might be going up against or prepare different play styles for whatever you might be feeling at the moment. Here's how I recommend finding a new character that you want to play. Find someone you vibe with or are stuck with. Read their abilities, go into the advanced tab and read their abilities. Not everything is plain as day. There are tons of little add-ons and additions they put in there. Read the entire thing. Because otherwise you might not realize that the champion's ultimate is an execute when the target is at less than 66% health. That is in fact something that someone complained about on the Paladins Reddit. Alright, so you found someone you like, you've read their abilities, now go into the shooting range and select them. The champions are in alphabetical order. Select whatever talent in loadout, it doesn't matter right now. And next, dick around with them. Shoot at everything, play around, find out their abilities, find out what they do, how they feel, what you vibe with. Ideally, you're looking for abilities that you really like and you really gravitate towards and abilities you don't care so much about. Just figure out what they do, what they're able to do, how things work, what do you like about them, what their ultimate does. After you've played around, now you want to go into Edit Loadout and use the cards to fit a playstyle that works for you based on how you want to use their abilities. Keep toying around with them until you're satisfied. Remember that you might not be able to use the talent you think is ideal because you would have to level up the champion and unlock that talent. But yeah, just mess around with the card system, figure out what you like, what you think would be useful for you in combat. Also take this time to work out your keybinds, sensitivity, etc. Unfortunately, you cannot customize your reticle and you cannot customize sensitivity for individual champions. Very unfortunate, I know. Also, you can copy other players' loadouts by going into the loadout selection screen, selecting import and typing in their name. Feel free to go and search up mine, see what you like, I don't care. There's also the Paladins Guru website, which can give you guides and loadouts. I recommend seeing what you can do on your own first because I think it's more fun, but if you are looking for a helping hand, those resources are available for you. Just an all-around note because cards do use this terminology, kill means that you got the final blow. Elimination means you helped someone else get the final blow by either damaging that person, healing the person who dealt the damage, or putting some sort of buff or debuff on the ally/enemy. There are several game modes. Paladins is weird. They rotate in and out. I don't know what's going on. Things are weird right now. Here are typically the default ones, but whatever is on there now could change because Paladins is weird. Siege. Capture the objective to earn a point. Then you push the payload into the enemy territory to earn another point. If you prevent the enemy from pushing the payload, you also earn a point. The first team to 4 points wins. If you have 3 points, you can only earn the 4th from either a capture or a successful push. You cannot win a game by defending. Capturing the objective earns your team 300 credits, which is something I'll get into later, and there is a comeback mechanic in the game. Essentially, the losing team will take less time to cap than the winning team. Onslaught has 2 submodes, Onslaught and King of the Hill. It's a coin flip on which one you get typically, but with the latest update coming out, they're planning on making them their own individual modes. I don't know, this is just how it usually is. Paladins is weird. Both of them revolve around just capturing an objective for the entire match. The first to get 400 cap time wins. King of the Hill makes the objective move around throughout the map, whereas Onslaught will have the objective in the same place the entire game. Kills and eliminations also add to your cap time. Team deathmatch is pretty simple. Kill the enemy team, the first team to 30 kills wins. It's team-based though, not individual. For now at least. Who knows? Payload. Push the payload as far as you can into enemy territory. The next round, the enemy has to push the payload further than you did into your territory. If you get a full push, the enemy team has less than 1 minute you did to get a full push in order to win. LTM stands for Limited Time Mode. Random modes that have all sorts of different gimmicks. They pop up from time to time on weekends. Again, Paladins is weird. They're fun to try out if you want to shake things up. Ranked is a whole other deal that I'm not going to get into because this is a beginner guide. Please be aware your first 3 to 5 matches will be against and potentially with bots. No, you're not some goated, overpowered player. Paladins is not easy. They're just bots. You can opt in to play bot matches anytime you want in the training section of the game selection menu. In Paladins, there is no role queue. Pretty much you just opt into a game, load in, and you can pick whoever you want. The only repercussion is that your team might hate you for ruining the comp. This means that potentially you could have a team of 5 supports. Go crazy. Here's something you might not be super familiar with, the item shop. Every game mode has an item shop where you exchange credits for different effects. Credits are earned passively and by doing things like killing, healing, capping, defending, whatever. You can have up to 4 items and each item has 3 tiers. If you ever don't know what items to pick, your safest options are Chronos, Haven, Kill to Heal, and Veteran. Pretty much impossible to go wrong with those. Every item in the store is very situational. Overall though, never pick Life Rip. I will go over why in a moment. Here are some basic go-to items for specific situations. If you're getting stunned and slowed and pushed around a lot, get Resilience. If the enemy team has a lot of shields, get Wrecker. If the enemy team has a lot of deployables, get Bulldozer. If you're a tank, get Rejuvenate. If you're on a big map or you're dying a lot, get Master Riding. And if there's an invisible enemy that keeps destroying you and your team, get Illuminate. Alright, we got a pretty big mechanic to talk about here. Cauterize / anti-heal. Brief history lesson. Cauterize used to be an item in the item shop. Every hit with your in-hand weapon causes an anti-healing effect on the target for 1.5 seconds, and it refreshes with each additional hit. This anti-healing effect negates a certain percentage of healing on that target while Cauterize is applied. Pretty much it became a must-buy item that everyone had to have at all times, so they just made it apply to everyone at base. And they changed its name from Cauterize to Anti-Heal. You'll hear it referred to as both. They implemented Cauterize because healers are way too powerful in the game without it. With really powerful healers, players would not die, so focus would be shifted to supports. Then that means supports are getting insta-killed every time they leave spawn, and then supports don't have a very fun time in the game, so they stop playing support, and you can see where I'm going with this. With the change from Cauterize to Anti-Heal, it has the same effect as before, pretty much, but the percentage of healing negated starts at 25% and increases to 90% throughout the duration of the match. This means that if you healed someone for 100 health with 90% anti-heal, they would only get healed 10 points. It is very important to be aware of and play around Cauterize and Anti-Heal, especially if you are a tank. Find or create cover for yourself to keep yourself from being shot until Cauterize wears off. This is a process known as cleansing Cauterize. That way your support can heal you properly and quickly and get you back into the game. From the support perspective, this means that you need to wait until your teammates cleanse themselves of Cauterize so that you can heal them more effectively and efficiently. Also, quick note, if you don't deal or take any damage for a small amount of time, you will regenerate health on your own, no matter what character you're playing. That is a feature a lot of people do not use too much. It is very, very, very useful. Going back to the item shop, Kill to Heal is not affected by Cauterize. Life Rip is. Life Rip usually is not the best pick because when you're shooting at someone, they're typically shooting back at you, applying Cauterize to you, therefore making your heals from Life Rip be very, very weak. Unless otherwise specified, any healing you get from cards or talents is affected by Cauterize. Another thing, mounts. When you're leaving spawn after starting the round or getting killed, you will have a mount. It makes you move faster so you can get back into the action faster. Shooting, getting hit, or otherwise using any ability will take you off of your mount. Once you are taken off your mount, you cannot get back on it until you die or until another round starts. Except in payload and other specified game modes, like I said, Paladins is weird. There's a keybind for remounting though, so be sure to look at that in the keybind section of the settings. Everyone's mount speed starts exactly the same, and the only way to increase it is by buying Master Riding. Voice chat is a thing in Paladins. People hardly use it, but it does exist and it does work. If your team has it turned on, they will hear you. You can mute people both in chat and in voice chat through the scoreboard. Speaking of which, look in your keybinds to find what button you want to use to pull up the scoreboard. It's very important. The scoreboard does not work in the shooting range. It shows both teams' talents, loadouts, and item selections. It also shows you your eliminations, deaths, and solo kills. Besides those, no other stats are able to be seen until the end of the match. There are a couple of things I realized while editing that I didn't go over that I'm going to touch on now. But yeah, my face is just not going to be here full on audio. Firstly, if you see this symbol on a character, that means they are in a counter stance of some sort. So pretty much just don't shoot at them when they have that stance up and you're good. And when pushing the payload, if there's some sort of map hazard in between you and the payload, even if you are in its radius, it will not move. So you can't push a payload from behind a wall or behind a tree or something. This only counts for map-generated objects, not player-generated objects. So if a character creates a wall between you and the payload, you can still push it from behind that wall if there is no one contesting it. And if there is a player-generated wall in front of the payload while it is moving, it will simply break down the wall. And with that, we are done. You have passed the Paladins crash course. Congratulations. I know that was probably a lot, but you kind of just get used to it as you play the game. I just wanted to let you all know about all the little details and little features that are in Paladins that are not otherwise really talked about. The game really does need a better tutorial. Also, just keep in mind, it's Paladins. There are a lot of bugs. And you'll probably have a DC either on your side or the enemy's side once every 3 games. In the end, I hope you give it an honest shot, and I hope you have a good experience with it. There are, of course, crazy OP players who are incredibly skilled and able to kill you in half a second and are somehow around the entire map at all times. And there are also players who really seem like they are a robot. Despite that, there is a lot of fun to be had in the game. Just focus on having fun. Don't focus on wins and losses. That's how you enjoy it the best. If you want to see more of me, there's more stuff here on YouTube. I also post on TikTok and I stream on Twitch. Subscribe, join the Discord, you know the whole deal, whatever. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps you out. I wish you the best experience possible in Paladins. Good luck. Bye. Have fun. I don't know.